We're gonna take a trip right now. Like we always do about this time.
This is a journey into sound. Break it down.
I'm Kyle Long, and you're listening to Cultural Manifesto. For the last few years, vocalist Valerie Phelps has become a familiar presence in the Indianapolis music scene, booking and promoting shows at the Jazz Kitchen and Cabaret, and performing around the city with her band, the Phelps Connection. This month, Valerie will issue her debut album, Project 7. The album spotlights Valerie's unique songwriting and diverse musical influences, referencing jazz, soul, gospel, and classical music. Project 7 features performances from Valerie's son, Dorian Phelps, and her husband, Kenny Phelps, two of the most respected drummers in the Indianapolis music scene. Valerie Phelps and the Phelps Connection will be hosting a release party for Project 7 on July 10th at the Jazz Kitchen. I recently spoke with Valerie Phelps and Kenny Phelps to learn more about the album. Let's join our conversation. Kenny and Valerie, thank you so much for taking time to be here. I'm excited to talk about the new album, Project 7, from Valerie Phelps and the Phelps Connection.
Yeah, thank you for having us, Kyle.
You're going to be doing a special release show at the Jazz Kitchen on July 10th, and the album will be available everywhere online from that point on, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Valerie, this is your debut album, right?
Right. Yeah.
I want to ask you about some of the tracks on the record, and we're going to dive into the record.
Oh, nice.
But first, I want to get a sense of your background, because from what I know, you didn't start out on a trajectory to be a professional jazz singer or professional musician at all, right?
Right. This just happened. I married a musician, Kenny Phelps, but prior to that, I would sing in choirs and stuff like that, but never really desired to do anything professionally. You know, I just love to sing.
Yeah. I know you've been working with Kenny for over 15 years, right? When did you both, Kenny, you can answer this too, when did you both start working together on stage?
We had been doing stage productions early on when we got married. We had a street ministry called Taking It to the Streets, and we did that, and that's when we had kind of initially started working together. She had a really great administrative talent and also a real creative talent. And I've been kind of more in the production side. By being on the road, I was able to be around lighting and sound and video. So we brought those aspects together and did a street ministry. That's what we did at first. And then we did some school productions. I had a school production called Dream It, Acknowledge It, and Do It. And I had a contract with IPS and the other school districts. And we were going to schools and motivate kids. I had lighting, rotating stage, people come in, fog machine, yeah. We'd send the kids back pretty hyped up after lunch.
I was like Cinderella.
So we did that together, and she sang with that as well. But I was always out, playing around the city with Steve and all these other people, and then
out of the country,
with Dee Dee, and just doing what I normally did, records and all that kind of stuff. And she would kind of come along. She'd come to some shows and stuff like that, but still singing in church. And then she started really getting interested in singing jazz. And so we started, putting some small shows together, local restaurants and things around town. And then it just kind of grew from there. And, she's been singing and, playing with the APA. We were meeting, different musicians like Emmett Cohen and Sullivan Fortner and Kenny Banks and all these people. So she started building relationships with them as well and started singing. When they come in town, we do our Gospel Jazz Experience show. She would do some selections on that as well. And it just kind of grew into what she's doing right now.
What year would you say, if you could put a date on it, what year would you say this collaboration kind of started to get off the ground from just a few gigs here and there to like a meaningful partnership?
I think pre-pandemic, for sure.
Yeah.
We'd been kind of testing the waters a little bit, trying different things. She, working with Stephen Jones, Reggie Bishop, John Wood. So she was getting some sea legs on performing, because that's a different thing to be. She would sing background all the time in studio on praise teams. We do sessions together. But then being the front, that's a whole different thing, figuring out what your repertoire is going to be, what your call to action is going to be as an artist. And that has to be developed as you do shows. What music do I like? What audiences do I want to present to? So that was the time span where she started figuring out, okay, I like jazz. I like this period of jazz. I like singing to these type of audiences, this demographic. So we started kind of putting it together that way as well.
Took a few years to find your voice.
Yep.
You just said 20 years, Valerie?
Yeah.
What is that
I think
date?
it was about 20 years, Kenny.
Me too.
It was in the 90s when we first started, getting our sea legs in it and started, doing little things in the community.
Never know how much I love you. Never know how much I care. When you put your arms around me, you give a fever that's hard to bear. Fever when you kiss me. Fever when you hold me tight. Fever, fever.
Valerie, we talked about you growing up singing in the church. You've come into jazz music as an adult. You're now working with some of the greatest jazz players around. Kenny mentioned some of them. These are people who play with national artists. Kenny plays with national artists.
Yes.
Was this difficult for you to integrate in? Was it intimidating? How did you kind of find your voice in that scene?
It just happened. It really happened. And based on the experience I had with Kenny and putting shows together and booking different local artists, after the pandemic, then I started booking for the Jazz Kitchen to help to bring different people, the audience back out, because everybody was scared to come back out.
So this is all just part of your sort of the scope of activities you have within the music industry, promoting, booking, doing all that work. This is just naturally fit in with that work.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's what I do, and I love promoting other artists.
Yeah.
And so, like Kenny said, started in the background music. Yeah, I've always been able to sing because I'm an artist and I'm a songwriter. But it was more, I wanted to push everybody else up front. Let me do this for you. Let me create this platform. Let me do this. Let me do that. And then so here I am. Now I'm like, okay, what do I do? How do I promote myself? It's hard to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to go from promoting other people to promoting yourself.
I'm like,
Yeah. Kenny, I want to flip that question on you. You mentioned Dee Dee Bridgewater. You toured and played with Dee Dee Bridgewater for many years, one of the greatest vocalists alive. You've worked with artists like Perez Whitted, Mel Ryan, Slide Hampton, the DeBarge family. You have an extensive background in jazz and gospel. What did you hear in Valerie's voice? Tell me about the process of you integrating into what she does.
I knew she could sing when I met her. We met through a Christian play called Upon This Rock. Mm-hmm. So I knew she could sing there. And then we started dating. She would sing around the house, early in the morning. And, so I knew she could sing. I didn't know at what capacity she wanted to do it. I've always been of the belief, find your passion, and then I can try to support that. And so, working together, I would see her work in these different capacities. I'd see her working in the choir, and I'd see her working in background. And there was a group called Heart After God. Mm-hmm. And the more she started doing it, the more challenging it got. And then she would just rise to the occasion. And then so she started writing songs. So we started working with different producers, and it would never kind of land. We try it, and she's like, I just don't like the way this sounds, or I don't like the way this feels. It's not capturing what it is that I want. And so a friend of mine, Hamilton Harden, I'd been working with him for years, and as a kid. And they started working together on some business modeling things she was doing for him and his company. And she started submitting some of the songs. And I thought, man, these are really nice. I'd heard her singing them by herself and kind of putting some melody, but then when Hamilton came back with these arrangements, I was like, whoa, this is really, really deep. This is really nice.
I'm here, you're there, we're where I care. It's been a long time, now the air is clear. Just one thing I have to ask.
Valerie has a lot of confidence. She's not a shy person. She's ambitious. And so when I'm working with her, I'm like, I think this will work. And so now with this record, it was choosing the musicians. Hamilton kind of plays everything. So other than drums on the record, everything on this record is him.
Really? I want to ask you more about that. I hear Rob Dixon on there too. I think.
Yeah, Rob. Yeah, I forgot Rob's on there.
Yeah.
But everything else you hear, from piano to bass to flute
That's
to
wild.
trombone to trumpet to
Are you serious?
to mixing to mastering, keyboards, arranging.
But I got 3 drummers on
That's
there.
some talent. I'm going to ask you about that.
It's that, but yeah, working. We've been working together for a long time, and to me, it's finding your place, finding where you fit in, where you feel comfortable, and then how do you work together as a unit.
Does that all sound right to you, Valerie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. I wasn't trying to do this. I really wasn't. It just happened.
Yeah.
It really did. And seeing how busy I am doing all these other parts in entertainment, it just like, bam, there it is. Hey, Val, these are really good. Why don't you put out a record?
Yeah.
I said, oh, okay. Really, that's how it happened.
Before we move on to the record, I got a couple more questions. Kenny, I wanted to ask you about something, a description someone gave of you recently. I wondered if you'd ever heard this.
Okay.
They were talking about meeting you many years ago and your reputation in the scene at that time. They called you the Tony Williams of gospel music. I thought that was such an incredible description. Have you heard that before?
I've never heard that before, but I love Tony Williams.
Yeah.
Roy Haynes, that's my bag.
Yeah, I think it was Brandon Meeks maybe who said that.
I love Brandon.
Yeah, I just thought that was an incredible way to describe you, the Tony Williams of gospel.
We were just trying to do something different.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in a pretty strict religious background, and we couldn't listen to music outside of the gospel influence. But when I started traveling in high school, I was traveling with a band here that was opening up for all these legendary gospel singers like the Hawkins and the Richard Smallwood singers and Vanessa Bell Armstrong, Commission. And so I was able to hear my heroes back then and talk to them. And once I found out they were lifting to Earth, Wind, and Fire, and, I'm like, who are you guys listening to? And they would ask us, man, who's your favorite guy? So I'm like, you're my favorite. And like, well, you got to expand beyond that. Music is much more vast. And once I did that, that's where Tony Williams and Benny Caliuta and Dennis Chambers and Elvin, all that came into my plane, which really didn't fit the genre, but we kind of forced it.
Valerie, I did want to ask a bit about your background, too. From what I know, you're born and raised in Indianapolis. Did your parents come here from Mississippi? Is that right? Yeah,
How'd you know that?
Did anyone else
You did some research.
Did anyone else have any connection with music in your family? Tell me a little bit about your history.
My dad was in a quartet way back when.
Like a gospel quartet?
Yeah, a quartet. And my mom was a singer in the choir.
Okay.
Yep. So I've had a little bit. And my great grandmother, I remember her singing in a choir as well.
Do you know the name of your dad's quartet?
I don't.
Was that back in Mississippi?
No,
here?
I think that was here. I've got an old black and white picture.
Okay.
I'll find that and send that to you.
Snapshot of it.
I mean, that is so old, but I remember that.
That's cool.
He was in a quartet.
One more question before we jump into the album. You mentioned there are 3 drummers on this record. Am I correct that one of them is your son, Dorian Phelps? I thought I recognized him on maybe Breeze. Is that the track he plays on? Am I right about that?
No, that's a different drummer.
Is that you?
That's Mike Mitchell.
Okay. I thought that was maybe Dorian. But I did want to ask about Dorian. I used to see him sit in at the Chatterbox, and he would just silence the whole room. And I would be like... And then he'd just shrug it off like it was nothing. And he didn't seem to be even pursuing a career as a musician at the time. It was just something he was doing for fun. I was shocked by that. He's now touring with Lakeisha Benjamin, or he has been recently. Has been touring recently. One of the biggest rising stars in jazz music, someone who's getting a ton of attention right now.
Yes.
Tell me about your son, Dorian, an incredible drummer.
Oh, well, he's with Keon Harold now, and has performed also with Kenny Garrett. Here recently.
Incredible.
So he's just really talented, really humble, and blessed as a musician. But like you said, I didn't really think he really wanted to do it. For a while, he was washing buses and working for FedEx, and he subbed a couple of gigs, and he got some pretty good money. He's like, "Oh man, I didn't know you could do it. Is this all much?" I said, "Well, yeah, it's good, but it's not like every day."
Yeah,
I said,
it's a hustle.
You got to, and so he started coming over, and he could already play. But I just kind of, hey, man, you should work on it like this. Learn your styles. Learn to play with this person. Learn your dynamics. Learn how to tune this. Here's how you approach this kind of style. Here's how you do this. Show up on time. Be professional. Be able to get along with people. Kind of some do's and don'ts. And once he got that, he would just go out, start sitting in.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, Dorian! Peace to everybody, every human in Christ, rolling the dice, trying to get nice, nothing gets a fight, we're overloaded. As a nation, as a people, we are people sitting here lifting dreams up. We're on a mission, and that's vision. Don't need permission to erase the acquisition of society. We all dream, we all fear, but we need to find a way against the stigma. In the words of the ghetto, while the beat is smell of God. What we need, revolution, and hope is scheming for broke humanity. Don't the world's a joke.
Valerie, I know you gave him his nickname, Hurricane, right?
I did.
Does it surprise you how quickly he's jumped to really the top of the jazz world? He's playing, you mentioned Kenny Garrett. I mean, it doesn't get any bigger and better than that. I mean, that was a quick transition from just sitting in at the club on a random night to getting picked up by these touring musicians. How's that all played out for you?
Dorian is he's got it, and like Kenny said, he's gifted with it, and so I knew early on from when I really started to get into it at the Chatterbox. I was like, "You're a Hurricane. You're this. You're that," and I gave him that name. It stuck with him, and I'm just so proud of him. And he's still like always learning. To me, he's like Kenny, because he's got a lot of. If you listen to him, he sounds like Kenny too, but he's got this other thing too. This Hurricane thing. So it's like Kenny on steroids.
He's Hurricane, I'm Raindrops.
One last question about him. I did an interview with Dorian a couple years ago, and he told me that when he was a kid, he was sneaking off listening to rap music he wasn't supposed to. Did you guys know that, or was he really sneaky?
He was really sneaky because they put out a rap record. I went to a concert. He said, "Man, well, come on out." And we had never heard it.
Yeah.
So we went to the State Street Pub.
Oh, yeah.
And when they started rapping, I was like, "Oh, my God." And we wanted to be supportive, but it was harsh. It was great. What they were doing was great.
It was gangster, man.
But it was pretty gangster rap, and I was like, oh my God, okay, is this what we're doing? So I want you to follow your path. That wasn't particularly my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But that was a phase and a period.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really do it a lot now.
Incredibly talented person, Dorian.
Yeah, he is.
Thank you for sharing all of that. Valerie, I want to jump into this record, your debut album, Project 7. When I heard about this record and when you sent it to me, I didn't know what to expect. Mm-hmm. I didn't know if this was just going to be jazz standards. I had no idea. I was blown away by the creativity and imagination of this record. Yeah. The arrangements are amazing. The playing is great. Tell me about how this record came together.
Through the years, I've written songs dealing with different things. Happy things, like Happy Place on the...
These are all originals.
Yes, these are all originals. So like different points in my life where I would just get a song. It comes to me like a melody. First I get the melody and I'm in a situation or I'm at a point, and then the lyrics come a lot later. But the songs are personal. They're very personal. Some of them are, like I said, like Happy Places when I was with my grandchildren. And that's where that came from. And then there's other that came from different points of my life where it wasn't such a good point. But they are definitely me. Mm. All of them are me. And my influences of gospel and jazz. And there's a cabaret, a little effect to it. And I think there's some classical, too, because I've had some classical training. So, and that's a real string quartet too. on Whisper.
Yeah.
And so this project is something that comes from the Val, from younger Val, from mom Val, grandmother, wife, sister, daughter. So these songs come from that place.
Yeah. So these are songs you've written over decades?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
I've got a lot more too.
Yeah. One of the things I love about music is that anyone can participate at any stage in life. You're at a point in life where most people aren't issuing a debut album. I don't want to say your age, but tell me about that. Yeah. Tell me how it feels to have this album come out, your debut album at this phase in your life.
It feels like I'm giving birth. It feels like the days and the months, especially the days leading up to it, feels like labor to me, because things start happening and I can feel that urge and that push coming up to that point. It's a good feeling, and then like labor, it hurts a little bit, This is I'm 60-something years old, and so I'm not trying to go on tour, not trying to do all these different things and stuff like that. And originally, it was just to kind of grab where I'm at as far as an artist and to lay it down so I can have something to give to my children and grandchildren. Really, that's what it was going to be. I just wanted to leave something and say, this is who I am, this is what I did. Now let me go and be a booking agent.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to do.
Get it out of your system, document it.
It was on my bucket list. It was. I want to do an album before it gets too late. And so that's how it all started. And when I I sang the songs, sent them to Hamilton, and he goes, you might want to do a little bit more with these. These are really good. Why don't we do a release? And so I listened to him, and I said, okay, yeah. And so being the person that loves to push everybody else, I think, makes me a little like, oh my gosh, this is really going to happen. Okay, am I good enough? Am I prepared for this? Is this going to flop? So all these birthing pains and the labor of it is, it's different. But I'm so glad that I am going through this and able to birth this out, because I can help somebody else. I can mentor now. I can say from experience, I know how this is going to go. Be prepared. Don't wait till the last minute to get your T-shirts like I did. I'm stressing over that.
Nailing down all the final details. Yeah.
But most of all, I think I would share with them, just relax. Just relax. And I'm at the point where I'm like today, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to relax. This is happening for a reason. So there's no need to stress about it and whatever. And at this point, the fact that you said you liked it, that's all I need.
No, I'm serious. It has a very authentic and original and fresh kind of sound. It doesn't sound like you're trying to be anything that you aren't, or trying to, land a record in the top 10. It's just, it's art. It's an authentic expression, and that comes across in the songwriting and the performances, which are incredible. And I want to play a track from the album now. I'm going to play the track Breeze, very heavy jazz arrangement on this piece. Is Rob Dixon on this, or is no?
Yeah, that's Hamilton.
It's all Hamilton?
Playing flute and everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
But the drums.
Yes, Mike Mitchell.
Okay.
Mike Mitchell, who plays
Thundercat and
Thundercat, Erykah Badu, Yeba, Kamasi Washington.
Wow.
Mono Neon.
Wow.
Go on and on and on and on. And he's a friend of ours.
Incredible drumming on that track, yeah. Well, let's listen to it. Off the new album, Project 7, from Valerie Phelps and the Phelps Connection, this is Breeze.
A breeze,
I'm Kyle Long, and you're listening to Cultural Manifesto. We just heard Breeze off the debut album from Valerie Phelps and the Phelps Connection. The album is titled Project 7. The release party is July 10th at the Jazz Kitchen, and the album will be available everywhere online after July 10th, right? Mm-hmm. The next track I want to play is The End, which is a great arrangement, right? Some of the arrangements on here, and maybe this is your producer, but it reminded, do you know who Charles Stepney is?
I do not.
Worked with Minnie Riperton and Earth, Wind, and Fire in that Chicago soul scene, one of my favorite producers. To me, some of the tracks had a flavor of that classic Chicago soul sound from the 70s. Was that intentional, or is this,
I think that's Hamilton. He's pretty dynamic in his approach and pretty well rooted in just American music and just music, period.
Yeah.
And he's just an amazing musician, amazing person, and very gifted as well.
Yeah.
So
this seemed like a very deep song, The End.
The End.
Yeah.
It's about death.
Okay.
That's what it's about. Yeah. Yeah, and I dedicated it to Rob. He just recently lost his wife not too long ago. And when she passed away, we were like in the me and Hamilton were in the beginning, not the beginning, kind of like going, because we've been working on this for over a year. So as soon as I heard it and I learned about Rob, I was like, I got to dedicate this song to him. So that The End is dedicated to Rob Dixon. And it's in the lyrics, what I was trying to share was that, seasons, they're going to come and they're going to go. And one day I'm not going to be here, but just remember, I always love you and I will always be there with you. So that was my thoughts with that song. But it has kind of like an R&B type feel, a laid back feel. It kind of even reminded me of some of the days when Cynthia Lane was around. I thought about her when I heard it. I didn't, going into it, I didn't, but when I heard it, I was like, because Rob plays it like he used to play in that genre. So
kind of like, hip-hop almost groove.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is, and that's Dorian on drums.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the track. Does he play on multiple tracks?
Yes.
He does.
Okay. Well, it's very powerful. I didn't know it had such a emotional kind of backstory. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Listen to that track now. This is Valerie Phelps and the Phelps Connection with The End off their new album, Project 7.
Life is a season, yes, my friend. A beautiful love story extends. Cherish your life, cherish your friends. My love for you will never end.
I'm Kyle Long, and you're listening to Cultural Manifesto. We just heard Valerie Phelps and the Phelps Connection with The End off the debut album from Valerie and the Phelps Connection, Project 7. The release party is happening July 10th at the Jazz Kitchen. Valerie, before we go into the next track, you mentioned this a little bit earlier. I did want to ask about your work as a promoter. Mm-hmm. You're one of the few women working as a promoter. This is like a very male-dominated industry, the music industry. How did you get into that? And it seems like you've really blossomed in that role. I mean, you're working with the Cabaret, the Jazz Kitchen, huge, important venues here in the city. Tell me about your work as a promoter.
Kenny got me started. Kenny got me started because I used to do all this for him, just for local artists. Yeah. And after the pandemic, Dave asked him,
Dave Ali from the Jazz Kitchen.
He asked him, would he think that I would be interested in recreating what I do for Kenny for the Jazz Kitchen? And so that's where the Wow Wednesday came from. So just the name of it, the concept of bringing the local artists in. And so that's where all that came from. So from there, and it's the weirdest thing, Kyle. I wasn't trying to do it. It just happened. So from getting the wow started with the Jazz Kitchen. And then I still do weekends for the Jazz Kitchen too, depending on what's available. And then Dave Ali, who's connected with Dave, who is connected with the Cabaret. They were looking for somebody to help with their programs with the local shows. And so my name came up in that. And so that's how I got connected with them. And then from there, I started getting connected to big national names. You know, one of the first shows I booked for them, because they were primarily Broadway. And so they hired me to do their jazz, to create a jazz series for them, and to take their Alley series, which is a local series, to the next level. So with that type of backing, you know, I was able to bring in Esperanza Spalding, Fred Hirsch, Malcolm Jamal Warner before he passed away, Liz Wright, Veronica Swift, Dee Dee Bridgewater, Emmett Cohen.
Huge names, yeah.
Veronica.
Veronica, and many more. So, and with that experience, I also learned, was connected to big agencies, Kurland and Gersh, and Broadway agents, and I still helped with Broadway as well, and learning how to do those $1 million contracts, you know, how to redline them and all of that. So I learned so much from Shannon. She basically, I shadowed her in everything. I shadowed her from how to do the bookings and the budgets and all of that, to how to book the Broadway artists. And then she looked for me for my help for the jazz part of it, you know, but I was in the whole thing. I learned everything from them on that national part. And then I was able to bring some of that back to the Jazz Kitchen and help Teresa a little bit, who mainly does all the national, her and Dave. So besides Dave and Teresa, I was the only one, and still the only one, that actually helps them do the booking there at the Jazz Kitchen, which is phenomenal. And you know, I don't hold that lightly, you know, because that's pretty intense to be able to help put those artists in there, because that's every day.
Yeah.
Every day. And then
It's
Jazz
a lot
Fest.
of work, yeah.
Jazz Fest, that was really nice too, to be able to, me and Kenny were on a committee to help to choose the different artists and things like that, and be able to make it a really good experience.
Yeah. This isn't a well-known group, but I think this was one of the Wow Wednesday concerts you presented. One of the best, most memorable concerts I've ever seen. The Merging Traffic reunion from a couple years ago. That show was mind-blowing. Were you there, Kenny?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Gerald Smith doing the circular breathing, and Rayford Griffin on drums. That was incredible. Yeah. Very special show. Yeah. So you're doing incredible work both on the national level and making space for some of these important artists like Merging Traffic here in the city that don't get enough attention. So really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
The next track I want to play is one of my favorite tracks on the record, The Journey, which has a huge arrangement, Latin sound.
I knew you were going to like that one.
Tell me about this piece.
The Journey. That's Dorian on drums.
Okay.
And is Rob on that one? No. That's all Hamilton.
Wow.
Again.
That's unbelievable.
And you hear trombone, you hear all that stuff. That's all him.
Really?
When I first heard that song in my head, I heard it as a third world feel to it. And then Hamilton was like, no, let's do it this way. And so that's where the Latin feel came from. So, but it was it was easy to sing it in the way more Latin than third world. So I could see how that came about. But it's about a journey, about, you know, not sweating, you know, things we go through. It all has meaning. And it's about being in the right place too. It's a journey, you know, not sweating it. So yeah, that's the meaning of that song.
Well, let's listen to that track now. This is Valerie Phelps and the Phelps Connection with The Journey.
It's not the ending, just a start. Keep music deep within your heart. It's a journey. Look for meaning. No need to rush or hurry. Step by step, yes. Keep your heart in check. Every milestone is a win.
I'm Kyle Long, and you're listening to Cultural Manifesto. We just heard Valerie Phelps and the Phelps Connection with The Journey off their debut album, Project 7. The release party is happening July 10th at the Jazz Kitchen. Tell us about this concert. Anything you want to share about it? Is Hamilton going to be there?
Yes.
That's
Hamilton.
great. Yeah.
Hamilton is going to be there. Kenny, Dorian, Rob, background vocals. I've never sung with background vocals before. So that's going to be new to me. I'm really looking forward to that. And John Wood's going to be on bass. And Mike Mitchell couldn't make it in for the release. He's on tour with Yeba right now. But so we'll let him do that. We're like,
let him off the hook.
We'll let him off the hook.
Yeah.
But he really wanted to be here. And so the audience should expect really good players, really good music, really good arrangements. The lyrics are going to capture them. It's a story, kind of like when you think of Broadway, every song has a message. And they will walk away feeling happier and lighter and more in tune with different things that they may be going through. I think each song will appeal to something because everybody goes through different things. And plus, with how the world is today and just different things going on, you just never know what's going to, I think it'll help to have a song that you can press play and say, I need to listen to Happy Place today. I need to listen to Breeze because it's a breeze. I wrote that song when I was getting ready to do something I didn't want to do. And I talked myself into it. It's a breeze. You could do it. And so, so expect to be inspired and expect to be lighter than when you came in.
I'm going to end with the track Whisper. You mentioned this is the track with the string arrangement on it.
Yes.
But first I want to give both of you, Kenny and Valerie, a chance to share any final thoughts or anything you want to say about this track before we go. Kenny?
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, when they sent in the string arrangements, we were taken back by that. And we cut some drums, and when we went down to Atlanta to cut the tracks, and I could hear the vocals, how they laid, and the meaning and the intensity of it, I thought, this is a really good piece of music here, And, some things just resonate. And I think the arrangement that Hamilton had and their working relationship, they really got this album right. I'm really pleased with it.
Valerie, final thoughts? Anything you want to say about Whisper?
Whisper is when you have nothing left to say and you have to whisper it. You have to whisper it. With my background and with God, and there was a point where I had to get to that point where you gotta stop complaining. You just gotta whisper, And that song. It's beautiful, and it says everything that I ever thought it even could be, and with the strings, and with the even how that even happened, because Hamilton he produces all kinds of people, and he was in the studio, and he had a string quartet, and they were working on something else, and they had some extra time, and he just said, "Hey, can you play this for me?" That's how that happened.
That's cool, yeah.
And they played it, and they were already paid for. They were just sitting there doing that.
He's very resourceful.
Right.
Yeah. And so they liked it. They said, "Who's this for?" And he said it was for a project he's working on. So I don't even know I don't even think he ever shared my name. But even that, how the little things just come into place. Who has a real string quartet, we won't have that for the release, though.
Understood.
But it is on the album. So Whisper is another intimate song. And I think with this whole release, you'll be able to feel the emotions, the Broadway part of it, the storytelling, and along with the jazz and that groove. Because my drummers, they have that groove, and it's going to be a night to remember.
Yeah. Kenny Phelps and Valerie Phelps, thank you both for being here. Congrats on this album. We're going to hear the track Whisper off the album Project 7 from Valerie Phelps and the Phelps Connection. The release party is happening July 10th at the Jazz Kitchen. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you, Cal.
Thank you.
I'm walking steady, a narrow line, confident everything is fine. The spirit moves, I follow you. The spirit moves, I follow you. Spirit moves, I follow you.
That was Valerie Phelps with Whisper off her debut album, Project 7. The release party for that album will be happening on July 10th at the Jazz Kitchen. And that's all the time we have this week. Thank you to my guests, Valerie Phelps and Kenny Phelps. If you appreciate the arts and culture programming you hear on this station, please consider making a donation now at WFYI.org/give. And check out the Cultural Manifesto podcast at WFYI.org or wherever you listen to podcasts. Cultural Manifesto is hosted and produced by me, Kyle Long. Our podcast is edited by Holly Summers, and our radio director at WFYI is Roxana Caldwell. Thank you for listening.